Hey guys, this is Udit. So today we will be learning the basics of CSS. This is a new series. So guys, please request is to please like, share and subscribe this video and the series to get further updates on the series. So going through the this what is the CSS? CSS is basically for styling our HTML. To be very basic, it is to paint our web page. HTML is just text and CSS is styling. It's as simple as that. CSS is a style language used to visual appearance of web page layout and positioning. Everything it is just for styling. Okay. So, and how it is good for accessibility, we have learned in the HTML section. We have to just take care of the color contrast for the purpose of accessibility. We will discuss it in detail. This is very basic, and this video and this series will be of 10 and 12. HTML I have done, it is for advanced HTML, keeping in mind accessibility and other semantic features of HTML. So you guys can, if you want, you can once go through that. So why CSS exists? Originally HTML tried to do both structure and design. Website look ugly, CSS was introduced. So content and presentation was separate. So it is also for separation of concern, which is HTML is for the bare bones structure and text, and this is for styling. So it the purpose of CSS is to style, and it is born because it wanted to create a separation of concern. Concern means two things. We don't want to intermingle. I mean, don't want to mingle into one, which is, so we want to separate each thing so that if in case our CSS fails, then also the website looks is actually good for informational and other things. So that is also one advantage of having a separate technology or a separate file for writing CSS. Yet we can write CSS in same file also. So yeah, so key point, CSS how things look, HTML is what things are. So how things look means CSS is for designing, coloring things. That's it. And yeah, so when you go to the URL browser sends a request, HTML file gets downloaded, DOM is formed, that CSS DOM is formed, and JavaScript things, all those things we have gone through, and then CSS, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So server responds with these things. So browser reads HTML, builds DOMs, it reads CSS, it builds CSOM, then it both combines and build a render tree and paint the pixel onto the screen. This is the simple process, and we have gone through this in HTML, this thing. So HTML is DOM, CSS is COM, both added is render tree, layout, paint, screen. CSS plays a major role in layout and paint stages. So that is the thing. So CSS, HTML versus JavaScript. So what is on the page? Heading, button, paragraph, images, section. Styling is color, spacing, font, shadow, layout, how things look. JavaScript is behavior, clicking a button and all those things. So it's like that. So HTML is skeleton, CSS is clothing, JavaScript is brain. So how browser renders CSS? Parse HTML, build a DOM like this, parse this thing, build COM. I can show you that. So this is basically DOM, this is basically COM, both are joined and render tree is formed. So it's like that. So painting is color, border, background, shadows. We will discuss each one of them in detail. So CSS syntax, this is important thing which will show selector. All the CSS has basically selector. So selector is, what is a selector? So this is a DOM is formed. So how we will locate a particular element into our DOM. So suppose we want to style this, basics of CSS. So for this we have to find this particular element where it exists. So we have to go to the section, we find this is an introduction, this is basics of CSS. So we locate this element. So how can we find this element? So first way is there is an ID for it, is there a class name for it, or we want to do it using this particular tag, or is it a child of a particular tag, or is there a class name and if we want to go to the child. So there are 100 ways to find this particular, locate this particular element from this particular file, but I have chosen to do it using tag h1, and there is because there is only one h1 in a particular good website. We have learned it into our HTML page. So using this h1, we went here, wrote h1, and so this is a selector which I am highlighting. In the file I will show how I have done it, and then the color I have given blue. That's why basics of CSS is in blue color. So it is this. So selector. So selector, what element you want to style. So P is the element class. I told we can do hash ID, we can do button and dot hover if you want to do something. That is also we will learn. Property, what color, what you want to change, color, background, width. Here we wanted the color to change. We will learn in depth all. Here I only teaching the basics of CSS, how to add CSS into HTML. Value we can give whatever you want. Here we have given the value blue. So this is a property, this is the value. So we want to change the color of the h1, which is only one in this particular website. If we do h2, it will do for all the h2, which I haven't done. So h1 I have done. Basics of the color, I do color this thing. If I do for h2, suppose I write here h2 and do the color green, the whole h2, all the h2, which is introduction, this is another h2, which is section 2, all the h2 will be changed. So it's like that. So once I go refresh the page, see introduction and section 2, both the h2 are changed. So this is because it located all the h2. This is how it's located. But here if I give a class name, like for a P I have only for this particular paragraph, if you want to do, we can do it using ID and class name or any other specify using any other locator. So any other selector, I'm sorry. And there is a specificity, which means that which style is more specific. So if there is two style for this, like suppose there is h2 is this given, and there is class name also given, so an ID is also given. So we have this particular thing, introduction, there is three styles overlapping. Suppose h2 is green, there is a class name also given. Okay, class is also given, something like xyz. So in that case, which one will be favorable, which one will be given priority, that one also we will discuss later. For now, let's discuss how we can add style into our HTML. So this is a broad overview of what we will be learning. Color, background, margin, value is this. Yeah, so how we can add style into our HTML. The first one is inline CSS. Inline CSS is like writing a style property into our HTML tag style and giving color as red rather than into a separate file. So doing that particular thing, it will change the color to red. So this is one way. It is not used anywhere, never use it, that's why I haven't used in my code. Messy and low priority. It is not actually low priority, it is actually of the highest priority. Which means that anywhere if you do it, so it will be overridden, but it is not used because it is not maintainable code. So this is the thing. And the other thing is internal CSS. Internal CSS is like this. I have used it. It is used in mostly when we write Django. In some places I have used. So it is used like this style, and in this style we can write our this thing, color and text align we can write, and then we can basically use it like we want. So this is for P is text align center is red. So for the P tag it is text align center and red. When we this is the see how we can find, we can go here, we can click here, we can click on the text here. So P is color red, text line. It is not in our file actually. It is not in our file. I have added it like this. It is internal CSS. This is called internal CSS. The first one we learned, which is here, it is called inline CSS. So this is it. And the third one is external CSS file, which I told we can use a link tag. give the rel as style sheet, and href as the location of the file, clean, reusable, and it is maintainable and faster loading. So this is how we will be using it. Inline CSS ID selector, CSS selector element selector browser default. So this is how we can do it, right? And this inheritance is like, inherited properties. Some CSS properties automatically get passed to the parent from parent to child. So like color, font family, this thing. So parent to child means this body is parent and h1 is child of it. So if we style a body, so h1 will automatically get that particular color. So if we write a color of the body to be red, then everything inside it like h1 section and all those, suppose section class name I do, so h2 and h3 are actually children of this particular thing, all will be colored red. So it's like that. So color, font family, font size, line height, it will be inherited properties. Padding, margin, width, border and background, those are basically not inherited properties. So guys, please keep that in mind. What are inherited properties? This is a very so all text become blue. So color is an inherited property. So that's what I was telling. So this is how it is. So CSS comment, how to write a comment in CSS file. So used for notes and explanation. So good file structure example. So this is comments. This is a CSS comment. So this is how we can write a CSS comment using this and this, which is hash asterisk this star and asterisk. So this is how it is. So this is the header style, this is a button. So this is an ideal way to write a comment, and this is how we can do it. And this is our CSS. So this is basically how it is. So guys, I hope this video is useful. This is basics of CSS, and in chapter next we will study about selector, colors, unit, box model, display, flexbox, grid, etc. So please stay connected, and I will write in a separate example for each of this topic. Thanks a lot guys. Thank you.